Look at this photograph, taken on the 14th of November, 1875, in the village of Ashward, Derbyshire. A man stands on a dirt road, facing the camera. His name, according to the inscription on the reverse, is Gideon Thorne. He is wearing a dark wool suit. His hands are at his sides. His expression is calm, almost indifferent. And none of that is the problem. The problem is his feet. Look at where the road meets the ground beneath him. His boots are not resting on the surface. They are approximately 2 inches below it. Gideon Thorne is standing inside the road, as if the earth had been liquid when he stepped onto it and then solidified around him. That is strange enough. But there is something worse. Gideon Thorne was buried 6 days before this photograph was taken. I need you to understand the documentation surrounding this image, because it is unusually thorough for 1875. The Ashward Parish Register records the death of Gideon Thorne on November the 7th. Cause of death, cardiac failure, certified by Dr. Edwin Harcastle, the village physician. The burial took place on November the 8th at St. Cuthbert's churchyard. The sworn affidavit of Reverend James Whitfield confirms he performed the service. 6 witnesses signed the register. The sexton, a man named Callow, confirmed the grave was dug to regulation depth and filled that same afternoon. 6 days later, the itinerant photographer Marcus Dunhill set up his camera on the Ashward Road to take landscape studies. He did not intend to photograph a person. His logbook, now held in the Derbyshire County Archive, lists the exposure as, quote, road study, southward aspect, 14 November. No subjects, end quote. No subjects. Yet there Gideon Thorne stands, looking directly into the lens. Dunhill did not recognize the man. He was not from Ashward. It was only when he developed the plate in Sheffield 3 days later that the local postmaster, upon seeing the print, identified the figure as Thorne. The postmaster then refused to speak about it for the rest of his life. Now, let us return to the image and examine what clinical analysis reveals. In 1962, the photograph was submitted to the British Society for Photographic Analysis. Their report is precise and disturbing. First, the light source. Every shadow in the image falls to the northeast, consistent with early afternoon sun in mid-November. Every shadow except Thorne's. Gideon Thorne casts no shadow at all. The analysts initially assumed a double exposure or compositing error, but the plate shows no evidence of manipulation. The grain structure around Thorne's figure is continuous with the surrounding road. He was physically present in the light field when the exposure was made. He was there. He simply cast nothing onto the ground. Second finding, his proportions are wrong. The report notes that Thorne's left arm is approximately 4% longer than his right. This is within normal human variation. However, when compared with the mortuary measurements taken by Dr. Harcastle 6 days earlier, the asymmetry is reversed. In death, Thorne's right arm was the longer one. Something had changed, or something was wearing Gideon Thorne slightly incorrectly. In 1876, the Ashward church wardens authorized the exhumation of Thorne's grave. The reason given in the faculty petition was, quote, concerns regarding the integrity of the interment, end quote. The coffin was intact. The seals were unbroken. Gideon Thorne's body was inside, but the body was facing downward. Thorne had been buried, as all Christian dead were, on his back, facing heaven. The sexton Callow swore to it. Reverend Whitfield swore to it. 6 witnesses swore to it. Yet the corpse now lay face down, arms pressed flat against the bottom of the coffin, as if he had been trying to push himself through the wood and into the earth below. The fingernails were intact. There were no scratch marks. Whatever repositioning had occurred, it had not been a struggle. It had been deliberate and effortless. In 2003, Dr. Helen Voss of Imperial College London published a paper in the Journal of Anomalous Perception Studies, examining 17 cases of what she termed post-mortem spatial displacement. Her hypothesis, which remains controversial, proposes that in rare cases of sudden cardiac death, the neural architecture does not fully decohere at the moment of clinical death. Instead, the dying brain's final spatial model, its last coherent image of where the body is and what it is doing, persists as what Voss calls a residual proprioceptive field. In simple terms, the body dies, but the brain's map of the body does not. And that map, carrying the full intentional weight of a living mind, continues to execute its last instruction. Gideon Thorne died while walking home. Dr. Harcastle's notes confirm Thorne collapsed on the road roughly 1 mile south of the village. His body was found by a farmhand and transported to the parish by cart. Voss's theory suggests that Thorne's dying brain issued one final command: walk home. And something, not the body, but the field, the map, the last electromagnetic echo of Gideon Thorne's intention, kept walking. It arrived on the Ashward Road 6 days later, and Marcus Dunhill's camera caught it mid-stride. This would explain the sinking feet. The field had mass enough to interact with light and silver nitrate, but not enough to rest on solid ground. It was falling through the world slowly, at a rate Voss calculates as roughly 1 centimeter per day. But here is what I didn't tell you at the beginning. Look at the photograph again. Look at Thorne's right hand. It is not at his side. I described it that way because that is what you expect to see. That is what the 1962 analysts described. That is what every written account of this image reports. His right hand is slightly raised, fingers extended, positioned approximately 8 inches from his hip. He is reaching for something. Or he is holding something that is no longer there. Or, and this is what Dr. Voss noted in her 2003 paper, and then removed from the final publication, his right hand is positioned exactly as it would be if he were knocking on a door. There is no door in the photograph. There is only the empty road. But Gideon Thorne's house stood on that road until it was demolished in 1912. And the front door would have been exactly where his hand is reaching. He made it home. The question that I cannot answer, and the question I want you to consider, is this. If the last thought of a dying mind can walk a mile and knock on a door 6 days after burial, how do you know that the thing thinking your thoughts right now is not the same kind of echo? How would you tell the difference? This case remains in the Derbyshire County Archive. The photograph is filed under miscellaneous anomalies. It has never been satisfactorily explained. If you have a theory, leave it below. And if you want more cases from the archive, subscribe. There are older photographs, and some of them are worse.